Imagine waking up tomorrow morning, but instead of your comfortable bed, you're lying on cold, hard ground. No walls around you, no roof overhead. Just you, surrounded by an endless wilderness that stretches to the horizon. The sun is barely rising, and you can already hear sounds in the distance. Sounds you can't identify, but your gut tells you they're not friendly. This isn't some survival reality show where you get voted off after a few weeks. This is 40,000 years ago, and if you don't figure out how to stay alive in the next few hours, you'll become just another forgotten casualty of the Stone Age. No rescue team is coming. No medical helicopter will airlift you to safety. It's just you, your modern human brain, and a world that's actively trying to kill you. Every year, millions of people fantasize about escaping modern life and living off the land like our ancestors. We watch survival documentaries, go camping for weekends, and imagine ourselves as rugged hunter-gatherers who could thrive in nature with nothing but our wits. But the harsh reality of prehistoric life would crush most of us before lunchtime. Recent archaeological discoveries have revealed just how sophisticated our Stone Age ancestors had to be simply to survive another day. These weren't primitive brutes stumbling through existence. They were master survivalists with skills so advanced that modern experts spend decades trying to replicate them. The question isn't whether you're tough enough to be a caveman. The question is whether you could learn fast enough to avoid becoming dinner for something with bigger teeth than you. Your first challenge wouldn't be finding food or building shelter. It would be staying alive long enough to worry about those luxuries. The prehistoric world was crawling with predators that viewed humans as their next meal, and your modern instincts are completely unprepared for this reality. Picture the short-faced hyena, an extinct beast the size of a modern lion with jaws powerful enough to crush elephant bones. These weren't scavengers picking at leftovers. They were active hunters that could outrun most prey and had no problem taking down early humans. Spotted hyenas still exist today, and they regularly hunt primates that share our size and build. Your ancestors lived in constant fear of becoming someone else's dinner. Every shadow could hide a saber-toothed cat. Every rustle in the bushes might be a pack of dire wolves. Even the seemingly harmless sounds of birds or insects could signal the approach of something deadly. Your anxiety and fear responses didn't develop to help you deal with job interviews or public speaking. They evolved because your predecessors stood a very real chance of being eaten alive. Modern humans are catastrophically unprepared for this level of constant vigilance. We've lost the ability to read the subtle signs that meant life or death to our ancestors. While you're squinting at a distant shape, trying to figure out if it's a rock or a predator, a prehistoric human would have already identified the threat, calculated 3 different escape routes, and started moving toward the safest option. Your survival depends on quickly learning skills that took our ancestors thousands of years to develop, and you need to learn them while hungry, cold, and terrified. Finding adequate shelter becomes your next desperate priority. And this is where the cruel irony of modern life becomes apparent. You're trying to reinvent architecture while hypothermia creeps through your bones and predators circle in the darkness. Archaeological evidence shows that our ancestors used every available natural shelter: overhanging cliffs, caves, dense vegetation, even structures built from mammoth bones and animal hides. But without inherited knowledge passed down through generations, you're starting from absolute zero. You don't know which materials provide the best insulation, how to construct a framework that won't collapse, or even how to identify a safe location that won't flood when it rains. The famous Otzi the Iceman, discovered frozen in the Alps, wore sophisticated clothing, including a heavy coat made from goat and sheep hides, meticulously stitched leggings, and shoes constructed from woven grass, fibers, and deer hide. This represents thousands of years of textile innovation that you simply don't possess. Every night without proper shelter brings you closer to death. Exposure kills faster than starvation, and the prehistoric world offered no mercy for those who couldn't adapt quickly enough. Your ancestors didn't just find shelter, they mastered the art of creating portable, efficient protection that could be constructed and dismantled as they followed game migrations and seasonal resources. Fire wasn't a luxury for Stone Age humans. It was the technology that separated life from death. But creating fire from scratch requires knowledge and skills that most modern people have never developed, even with unlimited time and ideal conditions. Evidence from sites across Africa and Europe shows that controlled fire allowed our ancestors to cook food, stay warm in harsh climates, and create a barrier of light that kept nocturnal predators at bay. Fire also enabled them to extend their active hours beyond daylight, giving them more time to work on tools, process food, and maintain social bonds. But making fire without modern tools means mastering friction-based methods that require specific wood types, proper tinder preparation, and techniques perfected through countless failures. You need to understand which woods generate the right amount of friction, how to prepare tinder that will catch and hold a spark, and how to nurture that tiny ember into a sustainable flame. Modern experiments with primitive firemaking show that even experienced instructors often struggle for hours under perfect conditions. Now imagine attempting this while you're cold, hungry, and listening to unknown predators calling in the darkness around you. Every failed attempt brings you closer to a deadly night without warmth or protection. Your ancestors didn't just make fire, they maintained it, transported it, and used it as a multifaceted tool for survival. They understood fire in ways that we've completely forgotten, and this knowledge meant the difference between thriving and becoming extinct. Hollywood loves to show cavemen casually hunting massive mammoths with crude spears, but real prehistoric hunting required sophisticated strategies and knowledge that modern humans simply don't possess. This wasn't about individual strength or courage. It was about understanding complex ecosystems and animal behavior patterns developed over thousands of generations. Archaeological evidence reveals that Stone Age hunters used coordinated techniques, like driving herds into narrow valleys where animals could be safely killed, building massive fire barriers to direct animal movements, and creating elaborate trap systems that required precise timing and teamwork. These weren't desperate acts of starving people. They were sophisticated operations that provided abundant food for entire communities. But hunting was only half the survival equation. Our ancestors ate up to 55 different types of plants, and identifying which ones were edible required generational knowledge that meant the difference between nutrition and death. The seeds of certain plants might look delicious, but they contain toxins that can kill an adult human within hours. Every meal was a calculated risk. Your ancestors had to know not just what to eat, but when to harvest it, how to process it, and which parts of each plant were safe. They understood seasonal availability, preparation techniques that neutralized natural toxins, and complex nutritional combinations that provided essential vitamins and minerals. This knowledge wasn't written down anywhere. It existed only in the minds of experienced gatherers, and was passed down through careful observation and hand training that began in childhood. Without this inherited wisdom, you're essentially playing Russian roulette with every plant you encounter. While you're scanning the horizon for lions and bears, microscopic predators pose an equally deadly threat that you can't see coming. Recent DNA analysis of ancient human remains reveals that our ancestors faced numerous infectious diseases and parasitic infections that could kill quickly and silently. Without modern medicine or even basic antiseptics, a simple cut could become a life-threatening infection. Parasitic worms, bacterial infections, and viral diseases were constant companions that shaped human evolution and immune responses. Your modern immune system, adapted to contemporary challenges, might be poorly equipped for ancient pathogens that our ancestors faced daily. Even drinking water presented mortal danger. Prehistoric humans had to identify safe water sources while avoiding contamination from deadly bacteria and parasites. They developed sophisticated methods for purifying water and recognizing signs of contamination. But this knowledge came at the cost of countless lives lost to waterborne diseases. Every sip from an unknown water source was a gamble with death. Your ancestors learned to read subtle signs, the behavior of wild animals, the color and smell of water, the presence of certain plants that indicated whether a water source was safe or deadly. Perhaps your only real hope for survival lies in the same strategy that allowed our ancestors to thrive against impossible odds: cooperation and social learning. Archaeological evidence shows that prehistoric humans formed small, highly cooperative bands where survival depended on shared knowledge and collective These weren't random groups of individuals. They were sophisticated societies with complex social structures, specialized roles, and systems for transmitting crucial survival information across generations. Success required not just individual toughness, but the ability to work within group dynamics and contribute to collective survival strategies. The famous cave paintings at Lascaux and Chauvet weren't just art. They were instruction manuals that encoded vital information about animal behavior, seasonal patterns, and hunting strategies. When modern wildlife biologists examine these paintings, they can determine the exact time of year they were created based on details like animal coat thickness and behavior patterns. Your ancestors collected and transmitted vast amounts of environmental data through storytelling, songs, and visual art. This information network allowed them to survive in diverse environments and adapt to changing conditions across thousands of years. Your modern human brain offers some significant advantages. The basic structure of human intelligence has remained essentially unchanged for tens of thousands of years, which means you possess the same cognitive capacity that allowed our ancestors to thrive. You might also have better nutrition and physical development than many prehistoric humans who face constant threats of starvation. But your advantages are overwhelmed by critical weaknesses that modern life has created. You've lost the observational skills, environmental awareness, and physical conditioning that kept our ancestors alive. Urban life has eliminated the need for constant vigilance, detailed knowledge of natural systems, and the ability to read subtle environmental cues that spelled the difference between life and death. You've traded individual survival capabilities for technological dependence. Your ancestors could navigate hundreds of miles without any tools, identify dozens of edible plants by sight and smell, track animals across diverse terrain, and predict weather patterns days in advance. Most modern people can barely find their way around their own neighborhood without GPS assistance. The harsh reality is that most contemporary humans would not survive more than a few days in the prehistoric world. Your best chance for survival would be finding and joining an existing band of hunters willing to adopt a completely clueless newcomer. And even then, you'd need rapid learning ability, constant vigilance, and extraordinary luck. The margin for error in the Stone Age world was a single mistake in plant identification, one moment of inattention to predator signs, or one night without adequate shelter could end your prehistoric adventure permanently. There were no second chances, no safety nets, and no forgiveness for ignorance. But perhaps understanding this harsh reality makes our ancestors' achievements even more remarkable. Recent discoveries continue to reveal that early humans reach hostile environments much earlier than previously thought, and developed sophisticated technologies that allowed them to thrive in conditions that would quickly kill modern people. They didn't just endure, they innovated, adapted, and ultimately conquered every environment on Earth, using nothing but stone tools, plant fibers, and extraordinary determination. They survived ice ages, volcanic eruptions, climate changes, and predators that modern humans have never encountered. They built the foundation of human civilization from absolutely nothing. The next time you struggle to open a jar or complain about your morning commute, remember that you are the descendant of the most successful survivors in Earth's history. Your ancestors faced down saber-toothed cats, survived devastating climate changes, and developed technologies that kept humanity alive through challenges that would seem impossible today. Could you make it as a caveman? Probably not. And that's not a failure. It's a testament to how far we've evolved as a species. We've traded individual survival capabilities for collective knowledge, personal toughness for technological power, and primitive existence for modern comfort and safety. Our Paleolithic ancestors would be amazed by our world, just as we should be amazed by theirs. They endured unimaginable hardships so that we could thrive in safety and comfort. Understanding their struggles gives us a deeper appreciation for both our remarkable heritage and our extraordinary present. The real question isn't whether you could survive in their world, it's how you'll honor the incredible legacy of survival, innovation, and determination they left behind.